So this week has been fairly trying because most of the days I actually came home with headaches, and that is annoying. Um, I've been on certain days I've been taking painkillers, but the headaches they usually start in the afternoon, and then they would actually persist all the way until in the evening before I go to sleep. And I'm just really lucky that today when I returned from work I did not have any headache, which is nice, and hence I'm able to make this weekly video, and I'm really happy, obviously. But uh, this past week is far from what I would consider as the worst week of my life, and I think that's a good thing. But it did kind of affected my my reading. As a result, I only read three books this past week, and but even though I was only focusing on three books, before that I used to read like multiple books, more than that, in one week. You know, just juggling multiple books because I was just so too damn excited about all of that, and but this past week I only focused on three books, and I found that the experience with those three books have been immensely satisfying, and it was just so awesome. And so the first book that I actually read um, this past week is Elizabeth Gaskell's Mary Barton. So another thing that I've been trying this week is to read books at a cafe. I used to do that back then when I was at college because cafes were quite close to where I lived at the time, so it was really accessible. I could go to cafes, um, most evenings or days if I had the time, and it felt cozy. It felt nice, and it did feel kind of fancy. So that's what I've been doing a few times this past week. I've been going to this one cafe which I thought was kind of cozy, and on one night, uh, they actually played Christmas songs for whatever reason. I'm not sure. It's still November, but anyway, I brought this book, Mary Barton, by Elizabeth Gaskell. So this is actually my first Elizabeth Gaskell, and I plan to read this one chapter per day. Um, Even though on certain days I actually missed my reading, so I would actually have catch up days. And even with catch up days, I did not feel really stressed out about this book because this book, surprisingly, is just so fun to read. And it actually felt kind of daunting, not only because this book was written in the Victorian era, but, and of course, the language would be kind of different. It's also quite long. I actually enjoyed this book because it's written really well, and it's really easy to follow the story. So essentially, central to this book is this main character called Mary Barton. She's a young girl, and she only has her father in this book, and her father and her, they kind of live this kind of poor life. They are not rich, and his father is kind of active politically, especially in the cause of labor rights and higher wages for workers in general. Mary Barton, because she's a young girl, she also kind of have feelings towards boys, and we also see that side of the story. But for the most part, we see not only Mary Barton but also her friends, her family friends, her neighbors, her family, how they kind of have to like cope with their life as as part of a community of the working class in Manchester, and how they have to just kind of deal with the struggle of, you know, day-to-day life. And I find that really fascinating, not because, you know, they're poor or, you know, because they are struggling, but because you feel so much humanity in this book. It's so many characters in this book that are kind of like so nice, even though they are not rich, um, but they don't feel like, you know, Mary Sue. Even Mary Barton herself, I'm not sure if I can pinpoint like if she has any like really fatal weakness, but she does not feel like a Mary Sue to me. Like I still kind of like that character. She does not feel perfect. She does not feel like um, this paragon of virtue, but she's nice, and I like reading about her. So yeah, I'm not sure why that is. I usually like to read about naughty characters, but yeah, Mary Barton is a really nice book. So the next book that I'm also reading this week is White Teeth by Zadie Smith, and this is actually my first Zadie Smith book. I'm kind of interested to read something by Zadie Smith because I've heard so many people saying good things about Zadie Smith's work. And this is actually a buddy read that I'm having with Wiebke from A Book Life of a Worldling, and also Kristin from Needs My Books and Coffee. And both of them are bookstagrammers, and so we have our discussions, weekly discussions, over at Instagram. You know, we have a Instagram group over there, and we have just read the first section of this book this week, and my impression of this book is that it's quite lovely, and I'm not sure what the scope of this book is going to be, whether it's going to span across a long time or multiple generations, or whether it's going to involve a very large cast of characters. But it does seem to feel that way. It seems to be leaning towards that. Um, I kind of have this feeling that it's going to involve many characters and all of their interrelated relationships. But the first section, it focuses mainly on two men. One is a guy named Archie, who is an Englishman, and he's born and bred in the UK, and he was involved in the Second World War. And the present time that we're reading about Archie in the first section actually takes place in the 70s, where he's actually a middle-aged guy. So when he was involved in the Second World War, he met with this soldier, a Bengali soldier named Samad, and there they kind of struck an unlikely friendship, and that friendship actually carried over all the way until the 70s, where they were kind of like married men with their own wives. And it's kind of fascinating because one of the main theme of this book, from what I've been reading so far, is the exploration of race and racism, which is always a nice thing to see in a novel. It's a really, really big topic, and racism usually takes like really different forms, whether you're talking about this race or that race. There are similarities and differences of racism experience, um, regarding the kinds of races that you have in your narrative. And so I think that this book is probably going to handle that theme, and I'm really interested to see the subsequent sections, how it's going to deal with that, and what are other themes that are going to be important in this book. But essentially, I think that this book is just wonderful so far. I really enjoyed it. This book is also quite funny. It's not a thoroughly funny, like a comedy novel, but it feels more like a dramedy. It has its own like serious dramatic moments, but at the same time, it also has that comedic moment as well, where you don't find that to kind of diminish the effect of the drama. But instead, they kind of work well with each other. It makes the story feels really real, makes it feel like you're actually watching a TV series of some sort. Um, and I really like that, and especially considering the fact that when it comes to TV series, I really like dramedies. So this book really has that vibe, and that's why I've been really enjoying it. So I actually changed positions. And yeah, the third book that I'm reading is actually The Story of a New Name, and this one is actually a buddy read that I'm having with Kirsten, also over at Bookstagram. And Kirsten from Kirsten0929. And this one is by Elena Ferrante, translated by Anne Goldstein, and this is actually the sequel for My Brilliant Friend, which was awesome. So this book is actually part of the Neapolitan novels, which consists of four novels, and it's about these two women. And the first book actually starts with them as children, and their names are Elena and Lila. Elena is kind of like the narrator of the books as well. And the first novel, My Brilliant Friend, actually refers to Lila as, as the brilliant friend. But these two women, or these two girls, as we are seeing in this one, um, they are actually, super smart. And My Brilliant Friend actually ended with the story, um, with the girls in their teenage years when they are about 16. And so this book picks up from that, and we see more of the development of their relationship, of their friendship between these two girls, and we see all of different kinds of things that are happening. And yeah, I kind of forgot to mention these two girls. They live sometime in the 1960s in Naples, in Italy, and therefore we will also see like um, what are the things that are happening in their environment while they're growing up. The kinds of societal rules, societal expectations that these girls have to adhere to, if they want to become a normal part of their society. And what I found really interesting is that even from the first novel, My Brilliant Friend, which was about these two girls who are super freaking smart, that, you could see that they do not belong in this society. Um, the rest of the societies, they have to follow a certain set of gender norms, expectations, societal rules, and all that. But these two girls, they just struggle with that so much, and even as kids, they have shown some sense of struggle, and I really like seeing that part, and that is actually like further highlighted in this book, where when they have become older, um, they are in their teenage years, and of course all of this, I would say at this point, kind of like subconscious desire to achieve something, to be different, is really telling with these two girls. And I just like seeing that part. It's like, this book is writing about this strong, smart, intelligent women without having to kind of like, it feels really organic, because it doesn't really feel the need to remind us that these characters are smart and they are women and all that. Even people who are not women, or yeah, I'm pretty sure people who read this are smart. But let's just say, even if do not consider themselves smart, they would probably be able to kind of identify a bit with these characters, and that's why I just really love My Brilliant Friend, and why I'm really enjoying this book so far. And we also divide this book into 4 sections, so we will be reading this book for the entire month of November. And so I'm really excited to see the events, how the events in this book are going to unfold. Certainly really, really interesting. And if you have not read, My Brilliant Friend, you should really just pick it up right now, because that book is, oh my god, I was completely floored. Like, seriously, I was just floored by that book. I didn't mind at all. It was just that good. So, this week I also been kind of did some online shopping. Big Bad Wolf sales is around, and it is going to be up all until 11 November, I think, if I'm not mistaken. And I'm kind of excited about that, actually. It was actually online on 4th November, if I'm not mistaken. In the past, this sale would actually take place at a physical place, so you'll have to go to a convention center somewhere to attend the sales, and there will be like so many books on the counter, and you would be able to kind of like choose and pick and leaf through the books, you know, and buy like a box full of books, because the books are sold really cheaply. And this year they have moved online because of the pandemic situation, which is okay. I mean, I don't mind an online sale. It's good, except that the sale actually takes place, like the first day actually took place before my payday. And so I was not able to kind of buy the books immediately when the sale went up. And so I kind of like have to wait for, I don't know, 1 or 2 days afterwards, until I get my paycheck. Then I went to browse the website, and I actually browsed the website before I went to do the shopping, because I just kind of like wanted to see what was around, and it was fairly interesting. There were some books that I really like. I don't know, maybe I'll talk about the books. Maybe I'll have a book haul video. I don't know when the books arrive. But by the time I went to do the shopping, unfortunately, some of the books that I really wanted was gone. So I was really disappointed. And usually I would actually spend like more than 100 ringgit for this kind of sales, but this time I only spent like, I don't know, 60 plus ringgit, and 70 if you include the shipping fee. But yeah, I wasn't really it wasn't really exciting, because there were so many books that were, that were not there anymore. But then again, it was not really that bad, because I have many books in my TBR stack, so it's not the end of the world. I would see those books again. In fact, with all the books that I have right now, I don't know if I will be able to finish these books even when I die. And so yeah, it's nice. I am actually really happy that even though I did not buy as many books that I wanted to, I managed to get some things, and I'm actually still feeling kind of excited to see those books when they arrive at my doorstep. Hopefully this coming week. Yeah. And so yeah, I guess that's it. That's all the things that have been kind of like happening in my week so far. The past week has been a little bit tiring, and physically especially, but also mentally. And but I have been having a great time with my reading. I've been enjoying Mary Barton. I've been enjoying the Elena Ferrante book with Kirsten. Um, and I am also enjoying White Teeth with Wiebke and Kristin. So overall, it was wonderful, and I hope that this coming week is going to be also wonderful. And I'm not sure because I'm not sure if I'm going to do a video in the middle of the week because this past week I didn't do anything. Hopefully, though. And yeah, but in any case, I'll see you again in a different video. Thanks for watching. Take care and bye.